Alright, hey guys, welcome back. Today we got some stuff to talk about since the Battle of Soledar is basically over now. Let me catch everybody up since I know I didn't post yesterday and it's been pretty unclear with how fast everything's been happening. After Russia did the mobilization, the new conscripts were able to hold the line at areas where the elite Russian troops or more professionally trained Russian troops were holding them, and that freed up some of them to go ahead to Bakhmut. The more well-trained Russian troops took the place of the Wagner mercenaries fighting in Bakhmut. And with that rotation covered, pretty much all of the Wagner divisions and troops moved up into the area where Yakovlivka was. Wagner captured Yakovlivka a while ago, however they were pinned down in between a ridge and a river. But it seems like either out of a political move or a careless commander, Wagner decided to stack all of their troops inside of Yakovlivka and do a massive assault towards Soledar. Pressure on it was crazy, and Russia was able to flank the main fortifications of Soledar from this side. When that happened, that's when the Ukrainians pulled out of southern Soledar and Bakhmut. And because of the overwhelming numbers that the Wagners had, they pushed up through this field and gained fire control of the supply road into Soledar. They began to fight inside of the city center itself. The main Ukrainian fortifications were in some tall buildings in the north, the salt mines in the south, and the one on the western outskirts, and then in some residential areas on that side. Russia first captured the outskirts on the west and began fighting inside of the salt mines. This wasn't a big deal because these two areas were very fortified. However, the overwhelming numbers were able to push through the fields in the north and eventually up to the black line that's here right now. They also moved up to the black line here, and basically the main fortifications of northern Soledar were encircled. Having this happen, they had to withdraw to the black line, and unfortunately a lot of prisoners were taken during this exchange. But while this was happening, Wagner took massive casualties. Most of the Wagner mercenary troops fighting were prisoners from Russia, and at some point there were 40,000 on the front. They basically treated them like cannon fodder and just human waved a breakthrough into Soledar. This may seem impressive now, but in the grand scope of the war, that wasn't a good idea. They lost a lot of men, but they exchanged it for taking over some of the most fortified positions in all of Ukraine. But Ukraine decided to just fall back, just take the loss, and set up a new defense line. The new defense line goes through Vesele, Rozdolivka, and down to Krasna Hora. It's this blue line right here. This is a pretty good line to hold because it has the, I forgot it, Suha Plotva river going through it, as well as the Bakhmutovka river that also goes down through Bakhmut. The loss of Soledar was unfortunate, and it was a pretty bad thing. However, in the overall scope of the Bakhmut offensive, all it did was just open a new vector of attack that wasn't even behind the Bakhmutovka river. So in the end, the defenses in Bakhmut will still hold for a bit. If they do get broken, they can always withdraw to the river too, which will make it even harder to storm through there. But honestly, I don't think Russia's even going to try to do a big assault into Bakhmut. I think they're going to try to push through this new defensive line to get behind the Bakhmutovka river. A lot of people think that this momentum is just going to keep up and they're going to keep driving up to Sloviansk, but the main thing that happened was just Wagner forcing the breakthrough with their massive numbers advantage. However, if they even try to do 2 or 3 more assaults like that on the scale of Soledar, they're not going to have enough men to do it. And taking Yakovlivka gave them a massive geographic advantage too that they're not going to have in this area. A lot of people think the mobilization in Russia wasn't effective, but it really was. It allowed the more professional troops to be freed up. There's talks of a second wave of mobilization going on. However, I'm not entirely sure if it's going to happen, but it would be major if Russia does. If there's another 200, 300,000 soldiers that are coming in from Belarus, the stuff's going to get pretty bad. However, that's still up in the air, but it looks like Russia is planning a second offensive from Belarus. My advice for Ukraine, which, I mean, they're already doing this, but it's just to mine the metabolic out of the northern border. That is probably the best idea. Just set up a ton of traps and trenches while they still have control over all of it. What is this? Is this an exclave? Oh, why is there an exclave of the Kiev Oblast? I love Google Maps. But I mean, yeah, the main thing that led to the fall of Soledar was the fall of Yakovlivka. And I mean, it sucks, but sometimes it just happens. Sometimes defenses fail and it's alright. Ukraine will just take the loss and move on, with the new defensive line already set up. It looks like with the geographic advantages of high ground, the ridges nearby, and the rivers, they should be able to hold them at this line for a while. Because as long as they don't make it past this line, and Klishchivka stays under Ukrainian control, Bakhmut isn't in that much more danger. It is going to suck having assaults coming from the southeast and northeast now, but I'm pretty sure it'll be under control. In other news, Poland and the United Kingdom have offered to send tanks to Ukraine, which is a big step forward. Finland was already thinking about sending tanks to Ukraine, but they were waiting for other major countries to make decisions too to see if they should. So Finland may join, and with all the pressure, I think Germany may decide to send it. They've been kind of being a bitch about it, honestly. So hopefully Ukraine gets the tanks that they need to do a big offensive. Sometimes stuff doesn't always go in the way it is, but I think we're going to see some positive news coming soon. And hopefully we do. Alright, see you guys later. Alright, we got a new layout now. Thank you to my channel members Gene Helfrich, Steve Grun, Butler-esque, David Appel, Delo Montatas, Phil Martin, Evie Fong, Robert Jenkins, Richard Quadri, Focus Pocus 100, Gaz B, Javette Witter, Russell Whiskey, Evan Shin, Mr. Walkman, Rye Jones, Chaspex, and a special thanks to my third tier members, Ashley C137, Joe Rindell, Mike Q, Joe Sauer, PG, JG Bashlow, Maxim Zavershinsky, Jane Dungu, and Matthew Barnes. If it seemed like I was trying to downplay the loss of Soledar in this video, that's not what I was trying to do. The loss of the town does really suck, but it's over and done. You don't trip on the mistakes, just keep going forward. It's just like life. So yeah, there we go. See you guys later.